Ever since I was young, I've always been fascinated by DNA and many of its uses and how it can be used and how it's very, very beneficial. DNA has come a long way in providing identification in a lot of cases. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid, and it is a biological storage information system, and it is a molecule that encodes all of the human genetics and a lot of the viruses. And it is a molecule that has genetic instructions used in the developmental process and functions of all known living organisms and a lot of viruses. DNA is formed by covalent bonds of proteins, carbohydrates, mostly of proteins and carbohydrates, also made up of hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, and phosphorus. Frederick Lecher was the first person to develop or discover nucleic acid in white blood cells in 1869, and he went to the University of Tübingen, Germany, and he was the first researcher to develop this and identify nucleic acid, and he was a Swiss physician and biologist. Sir Alec Jeffreys was the first person in providing DNA fingerprinting, and he, the first fingerprinting technique at the University of Lancaster in England. In 1992, he was awarded he was knighted for services to science and technology. Uses of DNA is forensics, maternity and paternity testing, map family trees, determine animal breeds, and identification in disasters. It helps predict illnesses in childs or newborns, and also in cloning. In forensics, DNA is used by using skin fragments. It is used in body fluids, hair, or the roots that come out of the hair. They use that kind of DNA to test whether somebody can be accused or held responsible, or can even free somebody from false imprisonment. And this has helped James Dupree from false imprisonment.
Well, it looks like a Texas man who spent 30 years in prison will soon walk free. A hearing scheduled tomorrow in Dallas for 51-year-old Cornelius Dupree Jr. He was sentenced to 75 years in prison for raping and robbing a 26-year-old woman back in 1979. Recent DNA testing proved that he is innocent. If his conviction is overturned, Dupree will have spent more time wrongly in prison than any other DNA exoneree in Texas.
Dupree was freed due to DNA, and he, but the sad fact is that he died a year after he was released after 30 years in prison. DNA is also used in maternity and paternity, and to help children or lost children find their family or family members, help find them and be reunited using DNA. Paternity tests are used more than often to help prove that the father is the father of the child, and it can help you figure out your ancestry and map your family tree, and to see how far along your family has come.
Andrew, you are not the father.
left click? Or-
Press F5 on the keyboard.
There you go.
DNA is also used in disasters such as floods, fires, hurricanes, any kind of natural disasters, and they're used. It is used to help determine who the person is in case of the corpse is not readily identifiable or unrecognizable, and without any other uses of identification or anything like that. And it helps with loved ones so that they will not be lost forever. They can use it so that loved ones will not feel that they're not just missing or simply just lost in disaster. And it can also help you determine the breed of your dog. In prenatal illnesses, it is used to help determine whether a child can possibly be born with any kind of illnesses such as autism, Down syndrome, and any other kind of dysfunctions or anything like that, or developmental delays. Just by testing the mother's blood and the father's saliva, they can help test that. And they can also test the amniotic fluid of the embryo to get further results. Dolly the sheep was the first mammal clone. She was the most famous clone because she was developed using adult cells instead of using an embryo to help clone in the process. And she became a major scientific achievement. It took the scientists 277 times in order to create her. And on the 278th time, it was finally successful. And it was a major breakthrough because Dolly was actually the first mammal to reproduce using the clone. And she lived for 6 years, but died after that, and they put her down because she had autism in her hind legs and she had a lung tumor. And in conclusion, DNA is similar in all living organisms, but small variants tell the difference between all of us and can tell why we are different. And that's what makes everyone unique in their own way. I know DNA can be used in many more ways than what I've touched on, but I believe that we'll only hit the tip of the iceberg.